Welcome back to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast. I'm Adrian Smith, and as always, we're diving into those stories where sci-fi and fantasy kind of well collide.
I'm Julia Jones, and I am ready for another wild ride.
So today's story is really going to flip the script on everything we think we know about vampires.
Really?
Yeah.
What could be more surprising than robots fighting vampires?
Well, this time we're meeting Caleb. He's known as the Daywalker.
The Daywalker, okay.
Yeah, but picture a vampire who's not hiding in the shadows, but actually loves the sun.
A sun-loving vampire. Now that's a twist I've never heard before. So we're talking like a reverse vampire situation.
Exactly. He's an outcast, even among his own kind. Everyone's afraid of him. There are even rumors of this powerful being called the Ancient One, who wants to control Caleb's powers.
Ah, the classic power struggle. We see it all the time in sci-fi and fantasy. Someone wants to exploit something unique for their own gain. Makes you wonder what the Ancient One wants to do with the Daywalker.
Well, it's not good for Caleb, that's for sure. He's on the run, and he's desperate for a cure.
A cure? So he doesn't want to be a Daywalker. That's pretty unusual. Most characters with special abilities would want to keep them. What makes Caleb different?
He sees his vampirism as a curse, not a gift. He finds a legend about a possible cure.
Oh, a legend. You know, those are never simple.
Right. It leads him to this forgotten temple. But it's not exactly a welcoming place. It's full of these creepy carvings, almost like the darkness itself is etched into the stone.
So we have a vampire who loves the sun, searching for a cure in a temple of darkness. That's quite the image. It makes you wonder what kind of cure we're even talking about. Could it be something technological, like a gene therapy? Or maybe a mystical ritual? Something out of ancient folklore?
That's a great question. And that's where things get really intense. Deep inside this temple, Caleb finally meets the Ancient One.
A showdown. I knew it was coming, so what happens?
Well, it's a pretty epic battle, but as they fight, Caleb realizes something terrifying is happening. He's getting stronger, but it's like this warped power fueled by the very curse he wants to break free from.
That reminds me of those sci-fi stories where technology grants power, but it ends up corrupting the user. It's like Caleb's sunlight is a double-edged sword.
Exactly. And it looks like he's losing himself. But just when all hope seems lost, this young girl, Anya, steps in.
Anya? Where does she come from? Is she another Daywalker? Or maybe she's from one of those advanced hidden societies we see so often in sci-fi.
Well, what she does is even more surprising. She takes the ceremonial dagger and stabs it into this carving on an altar. And suddenly the whole chamber is flooded with this incredible light.
Whoa! Flooded with light. Could that be some kind of advanced technology? We see light used as a weapon all the time in sci-fi.
Whatever it is, it completely destroys the Ancient One. But Caleb collapses exhausted. The monstrous strength is gone. Anya just watches him with this mix of fear and, well, something else.
So the Ancient One is gone, but at what cost? What about Caleb? Is he all right?
As the dust settles, Anya reveals that she's part of this ancient tribe called the Sun People. They've worshipped the light for centuries. They have knowledge that could cure Caleb.
The Sun People. That sounds like one of those lost civilizations with advanced knowledge that seems like magic. It makes you wonder what their connection to light is.
And Anya, it seems she holds the key to Caleb's future. She takes him through these rituals, helping him rediscover the light within himself.
And does it work?
It does. He looks in a mirror, and for the first time in centuries, he sees a human.
Wow, freedom. After all that time, what a relief. But what does freedom even mean for someone who's been a vampire for so long? How will he adjust?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And Anya doesn't let him forget the bigger picture. She reminds him that his cure is just the beginning.
So she's not letting him off the hook. That's interesting. What does she want him to do?
She wants him to think about all the others who are suffering under the same curse.
It's like she's giving him a purpose, a mission.
Yeah.
That's a classic hero's journey. He's faced his trials, found his strength. Now he has the chance to use it for good. But will he...
That's the question, isn't it? Will he retreat into his newfound freedom, or will he embrace this responsibility to help others?
It's a big decision. What would you do if you were in his shoes?
It's definitely something to think about, and we'll dive into those questions more when we come back.
Welcome back to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast.
We left off with Caleb, our Daywalker, finally free of his vampirism, all thanks to Anya and her people, the Sun People.
You know, it's fascinating how this story mixes those ancient mystical elements like the Sun People with the idea of a cure. It makes you wonder if there's some kind of scientific basis to those rituals. Maybe they understood things about light and energy that we're just starting to figure out.
It definitely blurs the line between magic and science fiction. And speaking of blurring lines, what about Anya's role in all of this?
Yeah, she's clearly not just a damsel in distress. She's a catalyst for change. She's got all this ancient knowledge. It's like she represents some hidden part of human evolution that's more in tune with nature and its energies.
And she's the one who pushes Caleb to think beyond his own freedom. She reminds him there are others like him still out there suffering.
So she's giving him a mission. That's a huge question. What will he do now? Will he just enjoy being human again, or will he become like a hero like we see in so many sci-fi stories?
That's the weight of responsibility he's carrying.
Yeah.
It's that classic hero's journey, the call to adventure the trials, and then that choice to use his power for good.
It's interesting to think about how Caleb's story is like those classic sci-fi heroes, like Luke Skywalker or Neo from The Matrix. They face these crazy situations, get these unique abilities, and then have to use them to fight against impossible odds.
Exactly. And just like them, Caleb has to decide what kind of future he wants. Does he hide away and protect his own happiness, or does he risk it all to try and save others?
That goes to the heart of the Robots versus Vampires podcast, doesn't it? It's not just about technology and the supernatural. It's about the choices we make when we have power. Do we use it to dominate or to liberate? Do we give in to fear or embrace compassion?
Big questions. And it's not just for fictional characters like Caleb. It's for all of us. What would we do in his shoes? Would we have the courage to fight for a better world, even if it meant sacrificing our own comfort and safety?
It's something to think about. The potential for good and evil is in all of us. The choices we make decide which side wins.
So what do you think, Ted? Will Caleb become a symbol of hope for those suffering in darkness?
Well, if this story follows the classic hero's journey, I'm thinking he won't just walk away. He's been given a second chance at life, and I think he'll use it to make a difference.
I have a feeling you might be right. But that's a story for another time. For now, we'll leave you with this thought. If you were given some kind of extraordinary power, what would you do? Would you use it for yourself or try to make the world a better place?
It's something to think about. And in the meantime, keep listening to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast for more exciting stories where fantasy and sci-fi blend together and the choices our heroes make change the fate of entire worlds.
Welcome back to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast.
We've been talking about this incredible story of Caleb the Daywalker, a vampire who finds a cure thanks to Anya and her people, the Sun People.
It's a story that's really made us think about power and freedom and what it means to be responsible.
Yeah, and how all those ideas show up in both fantasy and sci-fi stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to go back to something we talked about before, that symbolism of light and darkness. It's everywhere in this story, isn't it? It really adds something else to think about.
Well, definitely. It's a big part of Caleb's whole journey, right? You've got a creature of darkness finding peace in the sunlight, and then there's the Ancient One hiding in the shadows but wanting Caleb's power to walk in the day. And then Anya, who just like that banishes the darkness. It makes you realize how much these ideas of light and darkness are part of how we tell stories.
You know, it's funny. We use those terms metaphorically, too. Light is like hope and knowledge, goodness. Darkness is fear and ignorance, evil.
Mm-hmm.
But this story, it's like it makes those simple definitions more complicated.
It definitely makes you stop and think about labels. Caleb, he can walk in the sunlight, but he still struggles with his dark side. The Ancient One, he's surrounded by shadows, but he's got all this knowledge. And Anya, she's like pure light, but she's still young. She can still be afraid, you know?
Yeah, it's like this story saying that light and darkness aren't so black and white. Maybe we all have both inside us, and it's the choices we make that decide which one wins. What do you think?
I think that's a really important message. It's not just good versus evil. It's about how we struggle with ourselves, you know, that push and pull between doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing. We can all relate to that, can't we?
Absolutely. And that's what makes Caleb's story so powerful. Even when things are crazy and the choices seem impossible, we can still choose our own path.
Exactly. Even when we're surrounded by darkness, we can choose the light. And even when it seems impossible, we can choose to fight for what's right.
And maybe, just maybe, we can inspire others to do the same. So to everyone listening, what choices will you make today? What kind of light will you bring into the world?
That's a great question to ask yourself every day. And in the meantime, keep listening to the Robots vs. Vampires podcast for more stories that'll make you think and question and imagine what happens when fantasy and sci-fi come together.
Thanks for joining us.